Well, thank you so much, Archbishop. I told you guys would enjoy that segment. Well, joining us in studio now is Deirdra, a board member of the Bakhita House here in Boston. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
I really am interested in hearing about this. Tell us about the mission of the Bakhita House.
So the Bakhita House was founded in 2011 after the LCWR, the Leadership Conference of Women Religious, in 2001. What they initially did was they got together and decided, you know, obviously through prayerful consideration of what the human trafficking, how it's still, the numbers are staggering, how it happens among, you know, women, men, children, either labor trafficking, sex trafficking. Still, it's $1 billion industry. So they, you know, had that, you know, in 2001 they got together and decided it would be a major platform for them. From that, they ordered a study of the need for a safe house in the greater Boston area. And again, the numbers were, you know, unfortunately staggering. And so in 2011, after a lot of, you know, prayerful fundraising and a lot of benefactors, the house opened. Since then it's served, I think we have the number 44, but as of this year, we're up to 50 women have been helped in the past 6 years.
And you know, religious sisters always get stuff done. It's amazing, and I know that some of the sisters still stay at the house overnight. Is there any such thing as a typical day at Bakhita House?
Typical, right? Probably not. But what the women can count on is the baseline of love and acceptance and mercy is always there, and that's what a lot of the women come in. The best way I can describe it is they're wounded fawns. They're women who are deeply, deeply traumatized and have never experienced any type of rehabilitation. A lot of them come in with crippling shame, thinking they somehow could have avoided being, you know, preyed upon. So what they need the most when they come to that house is knowing that they'll be accepted and to be treated with mercy and tenderness. So typical, no, but that is the baseline. The tagline of the house is, you know, a place where love heals. And but it can be anything from helping the women find work to setting them up with medical services that a lot of them need, from, you know, trauma therapy. A lot of them have never had that. So it runs the gamut, or from cooking meals together and experiencing family life. A lot of women began the life of being trafficked as children, so they never experienced what it is to be in a safe home. And that may sound like an everyday life for us, but it's the first time for a lot of them. So being in a home where parents are present, or a caring figure is present. So it runs the gamut, but it's, I think every day the Holy Spirit seeps into that house in different ways.
It's, you know, in our lives, I think a lot of us have heard of trafficking, but then our lives go on. It's this blip and it goes on. I don't think we understand the tragedy of this and how prevalent it really is. What would you say to people out there who maybe are not hearing it for the first time, but are now starting to understand the scope of all of this? Is it surprising?
Unfortunately, it's surprising. Thankfully, there are a lot of organizations, national ones, local ones, that are bringing more awareness about it. But it's a $1 billion industry where, unfortunately, the product is human life, and it's a lucrative business, and
young, some are very young human life.
Children it's very common. The Bakhita House works with women who are 18 and older, but and this is in the United States. Yeah. This is not only in third world or other countries where it happens, but this happens here. Malls, women, men or children who are suffering with addiction. I work also with teenagers who are recovering from addiction, and that is unfortunately just a straight pipeline because they're very vulnerable. And when they're laboring under that spirit of addiction, it's easy to prey on them, that they're desperate. And when you meet people who, and a lot of survivors come from a background that's very tragic to begin with. So I don't like saying it's easy prey, but the nature of this type of organized crime, it is.
I know since October of 2011, Bakhita House has served, I think, 44 women in a very loving and merciful way. How do you make all this happen? You know, the funding, you know, the workers, the volunteers, how does it work?
A lot. The board, we're about 12 members, but there are benefactors who are anonymous, who wouldn't want to come on and do an interview about
Sure.
it. But I think more than anything, that has been the most inspiring piece for, in fact, a lot of the women themselves to see. I remember a woman asked me, why do they care? They've never met me, and her story was particularly tragic, and she said they don't even know me. Why are they raising money to help people like me? And the only thing that, you know, the answer is, it's on the other side of how dark this type of crime is another side which is truly inspiring. And I've met some of the most, they've taken my breath away, the type of generosity that exists, understanding how vulnerable these children of God are. So vulnerable. They are the most vulnerable. And that strikes a chord, and it can really, as discouraging as it can be, on the other side, it can be truly inspiring. Women have changed at a core level. They've gone on to finish school, regain their children back in their lives, their families back. So the flip side to it is inspiring.
Well, and the good news is that there is help out there with the Bakhita House. How can people learn more and support the Bakhita
Sure.
House?
So the best way would be through the website, the BakhitaHouse.com or .org, and there's a donate right online. A donate. We are a 501c3, so a nonprofit. But there's always a need for supplies and basic household supplies: shampoo, towels, basic socks, basic clothing items. Really, there's really no donation that we would turn away. And just being aware of the type of industry that grows from human trafficking. It can be hidden behind, you know, there's different ways that it can be marketed. It can be hidden behind, you know, some different organizations have a way of selling this. So just to be mindful, even hotels have been really participating with, and truck drivers and different alliances have been helping the issue raise awareness, just keeping their eye out for a woman who doesn't seem, you know, who seems pretty vulnerable compared to the people she's around, and younger women as well. So
we all can be involved. Well, Deirdra, thank you so much for joining
thanks,
us.
Deirdra.
And for your great work.
Oh, thank you.
Very
Thank you
much
for having us
appreciated.
and for helping us raise awareness. Thank you. So kind.
TheBakhitaHouse.com.
We'll be back with more of This Is a Day right after this.